أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف خلق الله سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه الأخيار المنتجبين وعلى جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد يقول الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وذلكم ظنكم الذي ظننتم بربكم أرداكم فأصبحتم من الخاسرين. Quran chapter 41 verse 23. It was that false assumption you entertain about your Lord that has brought about your doom, so you have become losers. On this evening, on this beautiful evening, we have gathered to commemorate the birth anniversary of three Imams, three lights. Imam Baqir alayhi salam, Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, and Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. In preparation for this talk, I thought a little bit about what really should I talk about. It's three Imams. Should I talk about this Imam? Should I talk about that Imam? Then I thought, okay, look, what is it really that these Imams want us to be? How do they want us to be? I thought they actually want us to be happy. Those Imams are Imams. The Prophet ﷺ, they all wanted us to be happy individuals, truly happy, on all levels. So this is what I'm going to discuss tonight. In the honor of these three beautiful Imams, I'll be talking about the key for happiness, the key to happiness. Let me first start with all of you, and apologies for those watching me on the screen. What do you think makes us happy? Go. Just say things that you think make us happy as humans, as individuals. What is it that really brings us happiness? Whatever you think, it's fine. There's no right or wrong answer necessarily. Huh? Wealth. Anything else? Money, right? Wealth meaning money. Maybe. Wealth. What else? Yes. Pardon? Health. Being healthy. Yes. What else? What else? Anything else?
Video games.
Video games. That's I expected that answer today. Video games. Okay. What else?
Praying in time.
Praying on time. MashaAllah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I envy you, my brother. Wallah, I wish I'm like this. Inshallah, I become like this. Anything else? Ahsan. Anything else? So worshipping Allah. Yes. Reading Quran. Anything else? Yes. Freedom. Nice. Anything else?
Having good friends.
Having good friends. Yeah. Very, very good answers, actually. Very good answers. Let me just ask you then other questions. Okay. Who said wealth? Okay. Wealth. So if you have wealth and then it's taken from you, then will you live in sadness forever?
No,
Because wealth makes you happy.
Other things make up for it.
Other things can make up for it.
Yeah.
Like what? Like friends?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you're like Imam Ali alayhi salam. When he would say at some point in time, being so righteous and so adherent to justice, it has left me no friend. So Imam Ali became miserable. Anything else? What did you say? Video games. If I tell you, okay, look, I'll give you video games, but for the rest of your life, this year you'll play video games. For the rest of your life after this year, you will not play video games. Then you'll be living miserably, isn't it? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me that you're happy as long as you have video games. You're happy as long as you have wealth, money. You're happy as long as you have friends. What makes our eyes happy is looking at nice things, beautiful things, looking at a beautiful mountain, a beautiful scenery. Makes our eyes, our vision happy. What makes our hearing happy is to listen to nice sounds. What makes our nose or smell, sense of smell happy is to smell beautiful fragrance. Well, let's say you are looking at a nice scenery, you are smelling beautiful scents, you are hearing beautiful sounds. But for the sake of argument, let's say you lose one of your parents on a day. They die, they pass away. On that day, whatever I show you of beautiful pictures, whatever I make you hear of beautiful sounds, whatever I make you smell or taste of very tasty food, do you really feel happy? Or do you feel something else actually is covering up that enjoyment? So there is something else really. So these things, although we enjoy with them, you enjoy wealth, you enjoy playing, you enjoy video games, you enjoy spending time with friends, but they don't really give you happiness in the essential sense. They come and go. So if you want to be happy, you want to make sure that you have a certain thing, you develop a trick, that you are happy all the time, regardless of whether you have friends or not. I'm talking about being happy for the rest of our lives. Not just being happy, if I have a friend or not. Being happy if I have money or not. This is what we refer to as, if you want to be happy, there is something else that makes you happy regardless, whether you play video games or not. And that thing is that internal happiness, which is called itmi'nan, being at peace, peace of mind. Have you heard of that expression? Peace of mind. Tranquility. Something within you, inside you, that no matter what happens outside, you're not shaken. If you think that video games or wealth is the source of your happiness, then you must know that the law in this world is that things change. Nothing remains as it is. Your wealth, there will come a day where it will reduce. It might increase, but it might also reduce. How is your contentment then? Do you feel happy when the price or the value of your wealth goes up? Or when you win a game? Or then when you don't, what do? Do you live miserably? So no. So there is a sense of tranquility inside us. That is a source of this happiness. This source of itmi'nan. For example, the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet Muhammad, we heard that he said, مَا أُوذِيَ نَبِيٌّ بِمِثْلِ مَا أُوذِيتُ. No prophet was ever harmed in the same way I was harmed. Yet we see him resilient. He doesn't shake. When he was tempted with wealth, the Quraysh, the tribe of Quraysh, they told him, "Oh Muhammad, look, we'll give you whatever you want. We'll give you this and that. Just stop all this new religion thing that you are up to." What did he respond? What did he say? He said, "Ya Am, la wada'a ash-shamsa fi yamini." Oh uncle, if they give me the sun in my hand and the moon in my left, the sun in my right and the moon in my left. Meaning, if they give me all the wealth in the world, if they give me all the power in the world, such that I leave this path and this duty I have, I wouldn't. I would never, unless I die. What is this resilience? He was harmed, he was hurt, but he didn't go and live miserably. Something within him made him stay steadfast. That's what we're talking about, the tranquility, the peace of mind. You know you're right, you move forward, you're hurt by so many people in a way that no prophet was harmed before. And we know that prophets were harmed so bad in the past. He said, no, for me it was worse. Yet, it didn't shake him. So, what brings this tranquility and peace? Okay, there is a very important virtue. Virtue meaning a characteristic in our personality that we need to develop, we need to be like. Okay, that virtue is the key to happiness. And that is, you probably all have heard of that word in a way or shape or form. Al-Rida. Al-Rida biqada'illah. Contentment with the decree of God. Being content with the decree of God. What is contentment? What is Rida? What does it really mean now? What does it mean? Okay, I'm content with the decree of God. What does it really mean? It means, I'll ask you a question in a minute. It means that you accept the situation that you are in. You get along with the situation that you are in your life, where you have no control. Think about things in your lives where you have no control. You can't change. Things that you cannot change. Things you can't do anything about. What do? Do you cry over? Do you grieve over? Do you become miserable over? Or do you reach a level of acceptance? Not patience. Patience meaning, I don't accept it, but I have to live with it. No. Rida, contentment is what? Is to accept it. To live with it. To accept that it is okay, and it is okay for you. And it is good for you even. Can you give me examples now of what things that you cannot change, you cannot control about your life, and that you need to be content with? You need to have rida about. Examples, please. Yes? Pardon? I can't hear you, sorry. When you turn older, excellent. You grow older. Can you do something about it? Can you stop yourself from growing older? You can't. So how do you deal with it? Contentment. You can't control it. You can't change it. Hassan, anything else? People dying. People dying around you. Maybe losing people who are relatives of you. You can't do much about it. You accept it. Anything else? Yes? Pardon?
Somebody born with a disability.
Disability. Hassan, being born with a disability. Things that you get at birth. You didn't have control over. You can't control. Hassan, anything else? Yes? Did anyone say anything?
God's plans.
God's plan. Example.
Maybe what they said.
Hassan, so basically the circumstances that surround you. That's what you're calling, I think, God's plan. Yes?
The session that we're doing right now.
The session that we're doing right now. Can you not control it?
Me, no.
Yeah, you can't. So there are things that you can't really control. You have to accept that the wall is white. Yeah? You can't really come and change it now. Anything else? Anything more fundamental? Other examples? What are things in your life that you can't change?
Family.
Your family, excellent. Perfect example. Did you choose your mother or father? No, you can't. You couldn't. You didn't. You were not consulted. You can't change them. Yes? Anyone else? Did you raise your hand? Sorry. Pardon? I can't. The world's
spinning.
The world's spinning. Thank you. Yes. So there are things that are laws in the world that you can't control. You have to accept. Excellent. I'll come to that point in the end. Anything else? Calamities. Troubles that happen in life. These are rules in life. You can't escape them. They will happen. Anything else? Final things? Gravity. Yes. Laws. Laws of physics. So these are things that you can't really change. One very important thing that you can't change, you can't control is what? The past. The past. Many people fall and fail in that test of what? Dwelling on the past. Things that happened in the past. Let's say a tradesman, he made a certain deal, and with that deal, he lost all his wealth. Now, if all the powers in the world come together, collaborate, support each other, to go back in time 1 second, would they be able to do it? No. Why? Because time moves forward. Laws. You can't go back in time. So that tradesman has two options. Either to grieve, to weep, to cry in misery, become a miserable person over something that happened in the past, or what? Accept it. Accept that it happened and it will never change. Many people fail in that. They keep dwelling on something that happened in the past. How could this happen to me? And recall the memory, recall the negative memory. And then they will drown in negativity. There's no way to change the past. This is where you apply what? Rida, contentment with the decree of God. The fact that time doesn't go back. What happened has happened. A mountain climber, for example. Yeah? A mountain climber went on a journey to climb a certain mountain. Something happened apparently and he fell down. His brain was injured and he became paralyzed for the rest of his life. If all the powers in the world gather together to go back in time such that this doesn't happen, this can never happen. They can't do anything. They can't bring back time. this person, then if he curses the time that he went there, it doesn't help. If he curses the friend that encouraged him to go climb that mountain, it won't help. If he curses the moment where he made that mistake and he slipped, it won't help. What helps is one, to accept that it's happened and to move forward. That's acceptance. That's contentment with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, what about the things that you can control? Can you count me things that you can control, that you can change? Yes.
Our life.
Your life. Yes, in what sense? To do well at school or not? Can you control that or can you not? You can control it. You have something to do about it. That's why you go to school. If you can't control it, you wouldn't be in school. Yes. Pardon? Cleaning your room, doing your duties at home. You have two options here. You can do it or you can not do it. That's not like the first situation. The first situation is that you can't control it. You can't change anything about it. So you can't sit in your room and say, well, my room is messy. I accept God's decree. God wanted it like that. I accept it. No, Habibi. No. You have a role to do. You have a decision to make. Yes? The future. Ahsan. So if the past is something you can't control, the future is something you can. Obviously in areas that you have a level of influence. Can I say, well, I'm thirsty. I accept the decree of God. I have a rida with the decree of God that I'm thirsty. No, because you have the option of alleviating your thirst, of drinking water. I'm poor. That's a big misconception. That's why I'm mentioning this example. Some people say, look, I'm poor. I don't have money. I have to, I'm needy of people. And they actually can do something about it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made laws for poverty like He made laws for wealth. There are certain areas you can't control, obviously. I'm not talking about those. As I will come to this narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam Sadiq would say there are three people who would pray to Allah and Allah would not listen to them. Three people, three types of people. Imam says, رَجُلٌ جَلَسَ عَنْ طَلَبِ الرِّزْقِ. One person who does not go to work. But he sits at home and he said, oh Allah, grant me rizq, grant me wealth. I'm poor, oh God, grant me wealth. So Allah responds and says, did I not give you a way to go and gain wealth, to go and gain money? Do you think it's a joke? You sit at home and you say, oh God, I don't want to study, but make me pass the exam. Are you serious? Not accepted that dua. Because some people think, look, I can do dua. Why is Allah not accepting? He accepts all duas. He listens to everything. Well, He made laws for everything. There are conditions that you need to take and satisfy. The other type of person whose dua is not accepted, whose supplication to God is not accepted or listened to, is a person who has a bad spouse. And he would say, save me from him. Allah would say, well, there's divorce. What are you coming to me for? If it's that bad, I open the door of divorce. The third person is a person who gave his wealth or some money or some possession to someone without any evidence, without writing any document, without witnesses, gave them some money. And then he would pray to God, what? Oh God, avenge for me from this person. Allah would say, well, it's your mistake. It's your mistake. You asked me to get you back your money. It's your mistake. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this world in this way. There's one thing that I want to mention, very important, is that look, we all face difficulties in our lives. We all pass through challenges, But the things that we feel are difficult, those things that we think are challenging and make us miserable in our lives, poverty, loss of friends, loss of close members, loved ones, loss of health, losing your vision, tribulations and challenges are very difficult in this life. If you look at them in themselves in isolation, it is not they that are the cause of your misery. It's your attitude towards these challenges. It's the way you decide to face them. I'll mention some examples so that you appreciate that. That is really about how you interact with the situation. It's not the situation itself. It's not the situation itself. The sickness, the poverty. That's not the source of your misery. The source of your inner misery and sadness is you, your own self. How you decide to handle it. How you decide to interact with it. A person once visited another whose fingers were amputated. Very difficult bala. And he saw him and he said, look, do you not feel sad? Do you not feel kind of misery and sadness within you that you actually have lost these fingers? How can you live? And the man looked at him and he said, to be honest with you, it's not on my mind in the first place. Now that you mentioned it, I'm paying attention to it. It's not my attention. I'm not paying attention to it. So the amputated fingers in themselves, that state, that situation that this person is in, that's not the source of his misery. He's not miserable apparently. But the other person thinks it's a source of misery. See the difference? Another person once said, look, I can bear any tribulation in life, any difficulty, any challenge that can come, I can bear it, I can live with it. Poverty, loss of loved ones, anything. I can live with it, except one. He said there's one bala, one tribulation that I can't handle. And that is the loss of vision. And it is a very difficult bala. May Allah help and bless all those who are affected with this, losing your vision. Now if I ask you to close your eyes for 10 minutes, don't open them while you're awake. You feel lonely, you feel imprisoned. It's a very difficult bala. Days went and came, and this man grew older. He became 60. And one day he was looking at the carpet, and on the carpet there was lines and patterns and shapes and things, and he noticed they're becoming blurry. Something is wrong. So he went to the doctor. The doctor said, well, I'll give you the sad news. You've lost one of your eyes and the other is on the way. And that person, apparently he felt he can't accept it. And he did accept that situation. That he thought years ago that I'd be miserable if I ever lose my vision. He was able to handle it. He was able to actually live with it. Sometimes it is the thoughts that are within us that make us feel miserable. It's not really the actual situation. So yes, a blind person can be happy. A blind person can be happy with a contentment. While someone with perfect vision living in a palace enjoying wealth might be miserable. Enjoying these blessings, but might be feeling miserable. They're not bringing him happiness, these blessings. We know about Prophet Ayyub, alayhi salam. Prophet Ayyub, he was afflicted with really terrible stuff. Losing all his wealth, losing all his children in one go. Narrations tell us about a conversation between him and Shaitan. Shaitan would come to Prophet Ayyub, would tell him, do you see what God has done to you when he lost his wealth? How could your God do this to you? Do you know the reply of Prophet Ayyub? He would say, إِنَّهَا مَالُهُ أَعَارَانِهِ أَعَارَانِهِ وَهُوَ أَوْلَى بِهِ. He said, it is his money. It is God's money. He lent it to me. I came to this world. I had nothing. I was born naked. I had absolutely nothing. Allah has given me that money. Lent it to me. He deposited it with me. And he has a greater right to it. It's his money. Sometimes when we ask people, or when we remind people that, look, this is wajib, you don't have to pay zakat, you have to pay khums. If you want, it's my money. Why are you asking me to give of my money, give of your money? Both money are God's money, not yours. Not anyone's. It's Allah's money, entrusted in your hands. He continued, Ayyub alayhi salam. If he wishes, he can leave it. And if he wishes, he can take it away. I have long prepared myself that my money and I will perish. I accepted the decree of God. I accepted that law, that this is life. One day will come and I will not be here. My wealth will not be here. So what's the point of me being attached to the money that much? What's the point? Accept my own misery when I lose it. He wasn't miserable apparently when he lost all his money. Naked I came out of my mother's womb. Naked I will return to the dust. And naked I'll be resurrected before my Lord, the Almighty Allah. And when Ayub lost all his children, do you know what his answer was? He wasn't miserable. Again, he accepted what he can't control. That's contentment. He was radi, he had rida. He said, Huwa ar'afu bihim min ummihim wa abihim. Allah is more compassionate with my children than their mother and father. That's the level of rida. That's higher than the level of patience. Patience when you're not really accepting, you're not really in terms with what happened, but you have to live with it. Rida is even further, is that you accept it and you are pleased with Allah's decree. And you think that there is no way, no other way that I could have it. That is better for me. Prophet Sulaiman salamullahi alayhi, once he passed by a farmer, and apparently that farmer whispered, and he said, the son of David, Sulaiman, was given indeed a great kingdom. And the wind carried the words of this farmer to Sulaiman's ear. Sulaiman heard it. Sulaiman walked to that farmer and he said, إِنَّمَا مَشَيْتُ إِلَيْكَ لِأَلَّا تَتَمَنَّ مَا لَا تَقْدِرُ عَلَيْهِ. He said, you know why I walked towards you? So that you would not wish for what you cannot handle. I heard you say these words, you're wishing what I have, but don't wish what you cannot handle. Sometimes Allah does not bless us with things that He has given other people. Think about this. How would I behave with it? How many people have been deprived of some blessing? When they got it, they completely went 180 degrees. Do you want to be like that? Do you prefer to be like that? Or would you rather, no, accept Allah's decree, because that is how you remain good. Sulaiman salamullahi alayhi continued. He said, لَتَسْبِيحَ وَاحِدَ يَقْبَلُهَا اللَّهُ. One glorification, one tasbih that you say, that Allah Almighty accepts, is better than what the family of Dawood was given. You see all this kingdom? If you have a tasbih, if you glorify Allah once and He accepts it from you, that's better for you than all this kingdom that you are saying how great it is that I have. Because the reward of a glorification remains, the tasbih remains, and the kingdom of Sulaiman will perish. Whatever you offer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will remain. Wealth, that will perish, that will not remain. A rather tradesman once, and apparently he was selling furniture, and he looked at his stock and he realized and thought, well, how much will my business continue? How long will my business continue for? And he thought and he thought and he calculated and he realized in 2 years, I will not have a business. I'll be out of business after 2 years. And then he thought and thought and thought, and from one thought to another, and then he realized, oh my God, will I reach a stage where now I have to go and knock on the doors of people and beg people for money and support and so on? And he kept thinking and thinking and thinking, and he drowned in these thoughts. And eventually, he committed suicide. He killed himself. Why? Why? Because I thought that after 2 years, I'll be very poor and I can't handle that situation. Seriously? Is that how you let your thoughts lead you to? Many times, many people who actually commit suicide and take their own lives, you know what the problem turns out to be? Thoughts like this, negative thoughts, evil thoughts, looping and looping and looping in our minds, and we can't exit that loop. And we drown and we drown, and they drown in that negativity to the extent that they become prisoners of that negativity. They think there's absolutely no way out. It becomes dark. They take their own lives. Yeah, do you know if you will live for 2 years? Do you know if you will witness those 2 years? Do you know if you'll live for a year? Do you know if in a month from today you'll be alive? Do you know that? You're making decisions now because of thoughts about 2 years from now. Do you know if tomorrow you'll wake up alive? How do you know? Do you know if you leave here, may Allah protect you all, inshallah, prolong all your lives? Do you know that if you go to bed today, that you put your head on the pillow, that you'll wake up tomorrow? Do you know that? A dua from Jesus is narrated that he said what? Allahumma khubzana kafafana a'tina al-yawm. Oh God, Give us our sustenance, the bread that we need for today. Why do you worry about tomorrow? Did Allah ask you for the work of tomorrow? Worry about your day today. Think about the future. Yes, I'm not saying so, but why worry that much? Why worry that much? These kind of worries about the future, after we've done what we could, after we've done all the best that we can, how do they help? They make you drown in negativity, and we should exit that loop. So it's our perception sometimes, our imagination about the situation that we're in that makes us live in misery. How long are we going to live in this world, brothers and sisters? Honestly, we come here, we live 60, 70, 80 years. We'll come and we'll leave. Why make your life miserable? Why make people's lives around you miserable? Your wife, your children, your parents. Just live this life so quietly and leave. That's what's going to happen. Make sure that you don't drown in thoughts that are not realistic. This is where you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, in his will to Imam Hassan al-Hussein, he would say, "Usikuma bi taqwa Allah." I recommend you, I advise you that you may observe taqwa, that you are mindful of Allah. وَأَنْ لَا تَبْغِيَ الدُّنْيَا وَإِنْ بَغَتْكُمْ. And do not seek this world, the material world, even if it sought you. Even if dunya came crawling at your legs, came crawling at your feet. Reject dunya, don't run after it. And he would say, and do not regret anything of it that has been taken away from you. وَلَا تَأْسَفَا عَلَى شَيْءٍ مِّنْهَا زُوِيَ عَنْكُمْ. Anything that you've lost in this world, fine, go. You've lost wealth, fine, go. You've done your part. You learned for the future, for you are able, where you are able to make a difference. You learned your lesson. The past is the past. Fine, go. Don't run after it. Don't dwell in your thoughts on history, on past. Let it go. Let it be. We should be hopeful in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have Allah. We have God. We should be hopeful in God and have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world and in the afterlife. A beautiful story that I thought to mention to you, that once it is narrated that Prophet Musa alayhi salam, he said, "Oh God, أَرِنِي أَحَبَّ خَلْقِكَ إِلَيْكَ وَأَعْبَدَهُ." Oh God, show me the most beloved of your servants, of the people, the most beloved to you, and the one who worships you the most. Show me that person, please. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to go to a certain village by the coast, and he told him that you will find that servant in that spot. So he went, and he saw a man with certain sicknesses, and he was disabled. Musa asked Jibreel, asked the angel, "O Jibreel, where is the man that I asked my God to show me?" Was supposed to be what? The most beloved to Allah and the greatest worshipper. Jibreel said, "This is the man. This is the man." He said, "O Jibreel, I was expecting that I would see the man, fasting and engaging in prayer, salawat, and standing in salat and all that, worship and worship. That's why I expected." Jibreel said, "Well, this man is more beloved to Allah than the one who would fast and pray and stand in prayer all the time." وَقَدْ أَمَرْتُ بِهَذِهِ كَلِمَتَيْنِ. And he said, "Look, I was commanded that I take out or take away his vision. I was commanded that I take away his vision." And Jibreel pointed, and the man went blind. The man can't see now anymore. And the man said at that moment, "مَتَّعْتَنِي بِهِمَا حَيْثُ شِئْتَ." Oh God, you have given me both of them. You have given me both of them when you wished. You have taken from me both of them when you wished. And you have left me with a long life of hope in you, O generous one, O everlasting one. I have you, O God. I don't care. Take everything. I have you. I have a lifetime. As long as I'm breathing, I have you, O God. That's hope. I'm happy with that. I'm content with that. What level of contentment does this man have? Musa actually told him, O servant of God, I am a man. When I pray to God, God will answer my prayer. Do you want me to ask God to heal you? Just tell me. You're sick, you have these sicknesses, you've lost your eyes as well, you're disabled. The man said, no, I don't want anything of that. Because God chose for me this. And I wouldn't choose my choice over his. I wouldn't select that. And this is the utmost level of contentment, pure contentment with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed. Things you can't control, you accept. And you use it to get closer to God. This is why the bala is actually a train that rushes you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you ride it, if you ride that train, you can throw yourself out and be miserable. But you can transform your life and make it positive, even through the bala. This is how Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam were. That's how you understand at the peak of the bala, how Sayyidah Zainab would say this, how Imam Hussein would say this. They would converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They wouldn't despair. They have this hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says this verse in the Quran that I started with, what? It was that false assumption you entertained about your Lord that has brought about your doom. The way we think about God, you think negative, your life will be negative. You think hopeful and positive in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be there. Hadith says, Hadith Qudsi, Ana inda dhanni abdi. I am like my servant thinks of me. If you think I'm good and generous, I will be good and generous. If you think I'm bad and evil, then you won't see except bad and evil. We need to train ourselves on this. Focus on the positive sides. Some tips, inshallah I'll finish with these. Some recommendations, how to really achieve rida and contentment. How can I reach that state? Okay? One is remembering the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look around you. Look at what you have gotten from Allah. We say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen every day, at least 10 times. In Salah. Alhamdulillah, praise belongs to God, and thanks are due to God. What are you thanking Him for? Look around you and see what you have. Count the blessings that you have. Second, count the blessings that you have but others don't. Do you know how many blind people there are on earth? Over 43 million people who can't see. And tens of millions more who have a level of vision impairment. Do you have that? Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. Do you know if you lose it, how difficult your life will be? Praise Allah, thank Allah, look at the positives. The blessing of faith and iman. Those people who don't have your iman, who don't have your faith, who don't have your religion. Many people see how they're living. Those who are not on the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam. Why do you take that lightly? Amir al-Mu'mineen, the one who actually implemented and embodied the path of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. By the millimeter. He walked the walk of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is our guide. This is the person that we think, okay, this one is the person who will guide us on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. That's a blessing. Count the blessings around you. 3, know that you have a God, you have a Lord who is wise and who is powerful. And who has decided this for you. When my brother said God's plan, who has decided this for you? Know that He can't change it if He wants. He's wise. If it is good for you, He can't change it. Let me ask you a question. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now gives you the whole world, the whole universe, and tells you, look, this is the whole universe. I ask you now, what is the thing that you would change? What is it that you would change? Like really, if there's one thing that you say, well, look, I'd like to change this, what would that be? Give me answers. What would you change if you're given what? Control over the whole world. Magic wand, Abracadabra, and there you go. What is that? What would you do? Yes? Air pollution. You would solve air pollution. Yes. Sorry. Anyone else? Disabilities. Hassan, thank you. Some people are compassionate here, mashallah. Anything else? What would you change?
Injustice.
Injustice, أحسن. Khaja Nasir al-Din al-Tusi, Khaja Nasir al-Din al-Tusi, he was a scholar of the ancient Shia scholars and philosophers. His answer was, I wouldn't change a thing. That's how Allah created the world. It means that's the best way to create the world. If you remove anything, the whole balance will collapse. It's not the world that we know it, it's something else. It can't work otherwise. I wouldn't change anything, he said. When you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the wise and the capable, you will realize that these laws in this world are how they're supposed to be, and you accept them. Sometimes this might be a bit controversial. Even the fact that there is injustice in the world, you would accept. Not that you accept injustice and you live with it. No, you do something about it. But the things that you can't control, in the sense that the world is like this, that it allows injustice, you accept that. You do your part. You do your duty of rejecting injustice, of fighting injustice, obviously. But you accept that there is this law. Inshallah, should try to achieve this virtue, the virtue of rida and contentment in whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed. And as I said, on things that you can't control, or on the things that you can control, that you have a choice about, that Allah may guide us to make the right decisions, inshallah, to achieve happiness. Because these would be some keys for us to achieve happiness in this world and in the afterlife, inshallah. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد